So then guys, one of the most common questions I'm already getting asked is, should I get myself the likes of an iPhone 16 Pro Max, or should I wait about another 9 months for the iPhone 17 Pro Max? Well, today I want to try my best to help you out here to work out, should you go and buy yourself this model here or wait out for the newest one coming out probably September 2025. And I think the best way we can start this is actually for me to go over all the new features that we know about the iPhone 17 Pro Max compared to what we already have with the 16 Pro Max. And I think the first, most obvious one that you can see from these renders right here is that we're getting probably a new design. I've already talked about this leak that we can see right here from the information telling us that the actual camera design is going to be changed from the little square that we've had in the corner since, say, the iPhone 11 Pro series. And this is going to be finally changed now to a rectangular bar, very similar to what we have, say, like on the Pixel series phones right now. And that Apple are looking on their way to actually change the design to look like this. And this is what the information has confirmed in their leaks. Now, obviously, I know some of you people out there are going to go, what about spatial vision and things like this, you know, making recordings for like the Vision Pro, because this has to be like in a sort of a vertical kind of way, you know. So what's going on here? Well, you know, I think this is something that we're going to have to look into on leaks going forwards, you know, if Apple are going to find a way to actually fix this. But the main thing is what I'm going to say right now is that obviously the design is going to be changed. And so if you're a big fan of the iPhone 16 Pro Max, or, you know, the 15 Pro Max, 40 Pros, and all the way down to the 11, then, you know, you want to keep that kind of design, maybe you should go and get yourself an iPhone 16 Pro Max, because right now it looks like it is going to be changing. So that is the first thing I'm going to say there. Then the second leak that we've heard is the material, what the iPhone's made out right now, what is titanium. This could be going back to aluminum or aluminium, where I'm from here in the UK, that's what we say. And that this could be changing from titanium. Now the iPhone 15 Pro series and the 16 Pro series, they're made out of titanium. And it could be that Apple could be going back to this. Going back to that old leak, what I just talked about a second ago, it even says here from the information that the material is going to be kind of like a sort of 3/4 sort of material. What's going to be kind of like a glass on the back, and then the top half is going to be sort of aluminum up here, and the rest of the body is also going to be aluminum or aluminium. Well, it's a bit of a step backwards, in my opinion, going from titanium. But however, a lot of you guys have actually said that having the titanium kind of case, even though it's slightly lighter, that it's been more prone to having scratches and things like this. So this is something also to be aware of, that, you know, if we are going to be going to a 17 Pro Max and you're thinking of waiting out for that the material could be changing what the phone's going to be made out of. And as we've learned already, the titanium can scratch up a little bit easier, but obviously it is quite strong and it is a lighter material too. So potentially, you know, the iPhone 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max could be a little bit heavier with this. The third upgrade that we've heard about is to do with the cameras inside of the iPhone, and specifically the teleprism or the telephoto camera. So right now with the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, we actually have a 48 megapixel in the wide and the ultra wide sensor right now. The ultra wide got upgraded in the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max, and it looks like that the last sensor did not get upgraded. What is the teleprism is a 12 megapixel, what we have on here. This is finally going to be upgraded to a 48 megapixel. This means potentially that digital zoom and things like this are going to be even more crisper now on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and that is if you do a lot of zooming in. A lot of you guys probably only do like 1, 2, or 3 kind of zoom capabilities, or even 5 times sorts of zoom, and the 16 Pro Max and 16 Pro is more than capable. And I'd even say that if you did the digital zoom up to even say around about 10 times zoom, this is more than enough, and it's really, really great still on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. For digital zoom, it does one of the best jobs in clearing up the pictures in the Android sort of smartphones out there. The iPhone does. So yeah, just be aware of that. So obviously having more zoom doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better, but, you know, the capability is potentially going to be there with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So that's one thing to think about right there. With moving on to the fourth upgrade, and that's all to do with the chip, what's going to be inside of this phone. It's going to be the A19 Pro. And all that bits and pieces what I said about digital zoom and clearing up the picture, the A19 Pro is going to be doing all of that work. So this is something to be aware of here. The A19 Pro is probably going to be a bit more powerful than the A18 Pro, but do not expect it to be leaps leaps and bounds more powerful. It's not going to be like 2 times more powerful or anything like this. It's probably only going to be like about 25% more faster. Really, you're not going to notice it. And I've said this before in previous reviews that I've used an iPhone 14, Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, and the 16 Pro Max all at the same time. And really, for the actual speed and capability of doing bits and pieces on the phone, I've not really noticed any sort of difference between both of those with the actual, chip inside of it. So just be aware of that, even though we're getting an A19 Pro inside it is going to be faster and things like this, but really in day-to-day activity, you're probably not going to notice it too much. But one thing that I would also say about the A19 Pro is that it could be a little bit more efficient than the A18 Pro, and this could result in slightly better battery life. When I mean slightly better, I'm talking the likes of maybe about 2 or 3%. It's not going to be much in it. So yeah, just be aware of that. And then this leads me on nicely to talk about the 5th upgrade that we've heard about, and that is for specifically the iPhone 17 Pro Max, is that it's going to potentially have 12 gigabytes of RAM inside of it instead of the 8 gigabytes of RAM that we have inside the likes of the iPhone 15 Pros and the 16 Pros right now. But like I said, it's only going to be specific to the 17 Pro Max. That's what this leak, what you can see right here, is saying. So yeah, this might help out if you've got multiple kind of tabs and multiple kind of apps open all at the same time. This could actually help you out a little bit more there. But obviously, if you don't have millions of apps on your phone and you're not opening them all up at the same time, the iPhone 16 Pro Max and 16 Pro is going to be more than capable for you. Then moving on to the 6th upgrade, and this is something that's going to be changing inside of the iPhone, and that is the Wi-Fi inside of it. Now, we do actually have Wi-Fi 7 inside of the iPhone, but it's not actually manufactured by Apple, the chip for it, or the modem for it. And it looks like that this is going to be changing in 2025, that Apple are going to introduce their own Wi-Fi chip or modem inside of it. And what this necessarily means is that, again, efficiencies can come about here. Doesn't mean that it's going to be even better or better wide range or anything with Wi-Fi 7. It just means that the actual battery life will probably last a little bit longer, potentially. Again, I'm talking like about 2 or 3% sort of better battery. And again, though, if you mix that with that A19 Pro efficiencies, what I spoke about a second ago, then obviously, yeah, you're talking a bit more. You can see that we're getting about 6% more just on that without even increasing, say, the battery size inside the iPhone. So yeah, this is really, really cool to see that Apple are making their own chip to go inside of the actual iPhone for Wi-Fi 7. But then moving on to the 7th upgrade, and this is all looking at the screen now, and specifically this is to do with Dynamic Island. We've been told that Dynamic Island, whether you love it or whether you hate it, it's going to be made a little bit smaller now. Mainly because like the Face ID sensors and things like this are going to be made even smaller. So this means that the Dynamic Island is going to be a bit more tinier now, probably not by much. I'm only going to be talking like about 10 or 20% more smaller, but it will be noticeable if you compared it to a last iPhone. But don't get your hopes that's going to turn into a tiny little like hole punch hole, something like this. It's still going to be like a pill shape that we're going to get, but it will be smaller in the next series of the iPhone. So if that really, really bothers you, what you've got on the iPhone 16 Pro Max all the way down to the 14 Pro Max, the size of Dynamic Island, then the good news is this is going to be made a little bit smaller on that one. And then finally, for the 8th upgrade that we've heard about definitely so far is to do with the camera, what's going to be on the front inside that Dynamic Island, and that this is going to be upgraded now to a 24 megapixel sensor inside of it. We've had the same front camera ever since the iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, was been a 12 megapixel camera, and that's been great, don't get me wrong. But if you love taking selfies and you want your selfies to be even more crisper and better, well, the great news is that Apple, like I said, are going to be upgrading this to a 24 megapixel sensor. And moving on from that, if you don't think the iPhone 17 Pro Max has been too worth it, and you potentially still want to get yourself an iPhone 16 Pro Max, well, the great news is, well, we have a giveaway for one right here. This here is the iPhone 16 Pro Max Desert Titanium with 256 gigabytes of storage, and I'm going to be giving this away to one lucky subscriber in around about a month from now. It's going to be just before Christmas time that I'm going to be giving away this iPhone 16 Pro Max, and you can enter into the giveaway right now, and all you have to do at this stage is just put down into the comments below of what technology gear that you're hoping to get still before the end of 2024 or even into early 2025. Maybe it's it's going to be a new iPhone. Maybe it's going to be one of those new M4 Max. Maybe it's nothing to do with Apple whatsoever. Maybe it's going to be a PS5 Pro or something like this. Let me know in the comments below. And then, like I said, guys, just before sort of Christmas time, I'm going to be making a video giving you even more details about this international giveaway. So you won't want to miss out on that, because there will be a little form to fill into for this giveaway. That will be the next part when that video comes out. I'll give you the details about that. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell, because like I said, more details will be coming in that video, including things like when I'm going to do the live stream of the actual giveaway and things like this. The other reason why you want to subscribe is because I'm giving it away to a subscriber. The last thing I just want to quickly say to you guys is that sadly there are still lots of scammers and spammers out there. People still impersonating me, telling you to WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, direct message, and all these bad things. So the best you can do is ignore them, or better still, you can see right here, please do report them. So moving on then, we've talked about all the new features and upgrades that are going to come out in the iPhone 17 Pro Max over the 16 Pro Max. But the big question is then, if you've got a phone right now, say an iPhone right now, and you're looking to upgrade, should you really be upgrading? Now, what I'm going to say right now is that if you own, say, potentially like an iPhone 13 or iPhone 14 normal, and you're looking to get yourself a Pro Max kind of phone, going to the 16 Pro Max is definitely a great upgrade, or even the 16 Pro. You'll get a lot of great features there. But that's if you're on a 13 normal or say a 14 normal. So I'm talking like the 13, 13 mini, the 14 and the 14 Plus. That's what I mean there. And what I would also say is if you've got anything older than that, so say you've got say a 12 Pro Max, a 12 Pro, any of the 12s, the 11s, you know, the XS, the 10s, or anything older than that, upgrading to an iPhone 16 Pro Max right now, if you need to do it, I would say it is worth it. You're going to get all of those upgrades, what you've got in the iPhone 16 Pro Max, plus the 15 Pro Max, plus the 14 Pro Max, and there's quite a few upgrades inside of that. So I would actually say, you know, if you phone battery's not lasting long, your phone's getting slow, or you're just needing to do an upgrade and you know you want to do it as soon as possible, can't really hold out much longer, that is what I would say. Get yourself a 16 Pro Max. Now, what I would also say with that, if you own, for example, an iPhone 15, or if you own, say, let's say an iPhone 14 Pro Max or 14 Pro, anything newer than that, so yeah, 15 Pro Max as well, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, and if you want a 16, well, yeah. If you want to upgrade, then I would say you need to be waiting out for the iPhone 17 models. And specifically, if you're on, say, a 15 Pro Max or 16 Pro Max or 16 Pro or 15 Pro, yeah, possibly even the iPhone 17 model is not going to be right for you. Well, you might have to wait to the iPhone 18s to actually start seeing some real benefits there. And that's what I would be saying right now. I'd mainly be saying if you've got a normal 15, or if you're on a 14 Pro Max or a 14 Pro, then you should potentially look forward to the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. But this is just my own advice here. And like I said, this is just answering that question there, what a lot of you people have been asking in the comments, should you upgrade or wait? And hopefully this bit has helped you out here. And also all those leaks and features and changes that we've heard about also will help you as well in your decision there. But with that though, let me know in the comments below if you're thinking of upgrading, or if you're going to get yourself a 16 Pro Max or wait out for the 17 Pro Max. I would love to know. And also on that note as well, guys, it's time to wrap up this video. So if you have been enjoying watching it, make sure that you do press the like button. Also, if you want to hear the latest Apple news, reviews and comparisons too, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye bye.